We're ready.
Hello, welcome to Tile Coach. I'm Isaac Ostrom. I'm a licensed tile contractor from Northern California. Thank you for watching another one of my videos. Today I'm super stoked to be unveiling for the first time ever in one of my installs, the Flow Effects drain. So this is the Flow Effects bonding flange. I did a video a couple weeks ago, right, on the differences between the major manufacturers of the bonding flange drains. And the nice thing about using a bonding flange drain, unlike the traditional style drains, you don't need a pre-slope. You just do one slope, you're waterproofing, and you're good to go. But of all the drains I've used Curdy drains for almost 10 years. I've used Laticrete drains. We stocked them up a couple years ago. This is by far the best drain. Really excited for it. I just put them up on my website too, so if you want to purchase one, you can go to tilecoach.com and find them there. So excited to be showing them today. So we're going to do a mortar bed installation. What we have is a plywood subfloor, and so whenever we have plywood, we do a cleavage membrane and chicken wire on the floor, and that's going to give us the proper substrate to put our deck mud mortar in, or dry pack. Most of you guys call it dry pack. Here we have California, we call it deck mud. It's a sand cement mixture, 5-to-1. We use a premix from a company called Dynacrete, and it's mixed up real dry. It's not loose like you would think of brick mortar. It's almost like you would want it for building sand castles. So we got that mixed up. One of the features that I really like about the Flow Effects is it has this mechanical bonding feature for the bottom, so that when we set this into the deck mud, it's actually going to lock in and bond to the deck mud itself. The other flanges are smooth on the bottom, they're plastic, so mortar doesn't stick to them very well. So what we're going to do with this one is we got some Multi-Max Light, and before I do anything, I'm going to go ahead and get a little coat of mud on here. So this is going to give a real nice bonding surface to our deck mud. I like the drain and the mortar layer to be one. That way there's no movement, and I'll explain that a little bit later. There you go, Kurt, can you rinse that for me, please? So I got that. The nice thing about we're using Multi-Max Light here too. Multi-Max Light has a 40-minute open time, meaning I can let this sit for 40 minutes before it starts to glaze over. Really cool feature of Multi-Max Light. I'm going to set that aside here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is just get my deck mud onto the pan itself. And I like to start by just spreading out a perimeter. So we have, as you can see here, this is a little bit different. We have a crawl space underneath. So if this was a cement slab or an area where we couldn't get underneath, we would already have to have the 2-inch stub out sticking up, already prepared. But the homeowner Doug is he's a plumber by trade, which was really nice. He found me on YouTube. So it's been cool. He really knows what he's doing. He was able to get this, all the plumbing prepped, all the demo done, and he did a really good job. But he's going to go in from underneath and hook up the trap. So most of the time, the trap is already installed. You got your stub out, and so we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue this little, we call this a stand pipe, onto the bottom of the bonding flange. And then I'm just going to stick it down, and he's going to hook up from underneath. So, yeah, give me a nice little... There we go. Give me a little bit on there. Just not too much.
Not too much?
Not too much. Okay. Okay, so one of the nice features about the X-Flow 2, unlike the Curdy, the connection is way down here. You know, it kind of has a bell shape. The 2-inch stub out comes right to the bottom of the flange. You'll see that here in a second. So that's the connection. That's actually the 2-inch ABS pipe comes right up to the surface. So what that allows is when you do have a stub out already prepped coming up, if the height of that stub out is going to be the height of this right here. Whereas with the Curdy, you actually have to have that 2 inches below the subfloor. So sometimes you got to get an inside pipe cutter. It's just harder. You don't get to have that connection way up here. And to me, that's a much better flow. You know, you're going to have much more better flow coming right through there with the pipe just straight. So I'm going to go ahead and get some deck mud put around where the drain is. And I like to have a minimum of 1 inch. I mean, you can go 3/4 on your deck mud, but I like to have at least 1 inch. So I'm going to get about 1 inch here, and then I'm going to tamp it down. So one thing to notice with the X-Flows is we have a square. It's not a circle like a Curdy flange. So when you set it, you want to make sure you're fairly square off of the back walls, or you want to make it square off of all the walls, but I'm going to measure off the back wall to make sure that this isn't twisted, because when you go to put the grate on, and I'll show you, this is the grate holder, this isn't the grate itself, but this goes in here, and so you do have some play in here to square up your drain afterwards, but if it's too far kicked out, you're not going to be able to square it up. So you want to make sure that you're setting this square to your walls. So now I'm just going to put that right in there. And I will, I'm going to get a little mud out of the way so I can just check my measurement here. Look at this tape measure. What a ridiculous tape measure. I mean, I don't know. This was a freebie, but look. You go freaking crazy trying to read all these little lines on it.
I agree.
We got centimeters, we got inches. Yeah, see that? Oh, here we go. Good old Stanley. There we go. I can read that guy. Yeah, we're at 1 inch there, and when I tamp it down, it'll be just perfect. So, first thing I'm going to do is measure. Make sure I'm close to square. I got 11 1/4. I got 11 3/16. So I just need to go this way just a smidge. Now we're just under 11 1/4, just under 11 1/4. So I think we're good there. And the other thing you want to do is make sure that you level it up. So I'm going to see where we're at for level. And somehow I am like dead on.
Cause you're the man.
Yeah. Right there.
And see, the level knows we're recording, so.
Yeah. So there we go. Okay. All right. So we got a nice level square drain. And so I'm gonna just start. And again, this is really nice because we're gonna have an area to screed off of right here. I'm just going to make sure this is packed down real nice around the drain. And again, so when this is all dried, I mean, this is all going to be one solid piece tied in with the deck mud. In the past, using the Curdy and the Laticrete, what will end up happening is when you come in to work on it, if somebody steps on it or anything, it's not bonded to the mud, so it can flex and you get it kind of popping up. So if we're going, we want a 1/4 inch per foot of fall to the farthest point, and then I'm going to do level all the way around. So I got 32 inches here, and this is a 30-inch level. So 32. We're going to want, I'm going to call it 2.5 feet, so that's, what is that? 1/2 inch. Almost 3/4. It's 5/8. So 5/8. I'm gonna shoot for 3/4, and I'll probably end up smashing that down and be closer to 5/8. So right around there. TCNA has a little bit of wiggle room. They want between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch per foot. Okay, so I have 3/4. I got 3/4 of fall to that corner, so that's gonna be my starting point.
Capped it then. That
Yeah,
sucker's
so
probably 30 years old, Isaac.
This guy?
Yep.
30.
Back when I first started.
Still got it. That's cool. A 30-year-old Stabilic. Hey, leave it in the comment section below if you have a Stabilic that's 30 years or older. We'll see if Kirk has the record on it. Yeah.
So Isaac, what if we got done with this entire project, but then I told you I forgot to push the power button? I didn't. I'm kidding.
You tested him, huh?
He'd be fired. Kirk would be filming.
It wasn't me. I wouldn't forget. Would that be a Kirk move?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, Kirk's
No, I'm
like,
joking.
okay,
I'm joking. I'm messing around.
Haven't done it yet, though.
We've had audio problems. We've had shoot a whole thing and audio not working, which is. I'd be like, okay, let's take it all out. We're gonna rinse the drain off. We're gonna go mix more mud. That's what would happen. Okay, so you can see I got my perimeter point right there, level across here. I'm gonna do that to the other 3 sides. All right, so now that we got our perimeter all set up, we got our perimeter screed all level, I'm gonna just start shaping from the corners in. I'm using my wood float here. I don't know if this is like a California thing or what, but we've always used wood floats when we're doing our dry packs. A lot of people I see, especially on the East Coast, just use their steel trowel. Either one will work. See, I just push the mud about where I want it and leave it up like a good 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch high. And don't pack it down until I get it pretty much where I want it. You see, I'm not beating the heck out of the mud. I'm just giving it a good tamp, nice firm tamp. You start slamming it like that, it'll actually break up the mud and it'll start to flake off when it dries. So yeah, you just need a nice tamp. Okay, so now I need do we got edges? What edge? Oh, can I use this, Kirk?
You can use whatever levels you want. I mean, levels were great.
So the nice thing about screeding off of a bonding flange is that you have your point here to screed off of. See, and I put a little too much mud on here.
That's my bad habit. I like to make sure I don't have any divots.
Yeah. So you can leave it up a little high there too, but that's about where I want it. It's also easier to get in when you have these 3x5 pans to get in on one side and work this way. I try not to get mud in my
Unless you're
socks.
tall like me. Unless you're tall like me.
Yeah, that is an advantage of being short, and tile trade it really does pay off.
We have our
Unless you're
advantages.
doing ceilings,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. We have our advantages.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing to this side. Oh, I thought that was the thing.
Kind of like water.
Yeah, it's the water. So now I kind of have little cheater lines here, and I can just start taking the mud off where I want it. Little bits at a time.
Interesting, Isaac. I've never seen this technique, even when you did a video before on this.
Really?
Yeah. I
How
didn't
do
notice.
you do it?
I use a float strip. I find a flat float strip. I use my level to make sure it's flat.
Oh, and then you go like
I
that?
just screed it to my screed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I don't have to worry about digging. I'm afraid I'm going to dig too much.
Yeah, so what Kirk was saying is that you can take a float strip, you know, we use redwood lath when we're floating our walls, so we have these sticks, and we just screed it off like this. I basically am treating my wood float as the same thing. Thing with the wood floats is they'll start to get cement caked up on them, so you just want to keep them clean like that. I'm putting my extra mud down here. So the important part is that you don't want to ever dig into your perimeter screed, because that's like your lifeline. That's showing you where you need to be. So be careful up against there. The rest of this field, if I dig in too much, it's pretty easy to fill in. Like I could do that, and then just, you know, sprinkle some more mud on, tamp it down, and do one of those numbers. And I wish the major manufacturers would switch their dry pack mixes to a 5-to-1 like we use in California. It's a much better mix. That's how you get that nice even surface without it clumping. You notice I'm not getting clumps, balls of cement in here. It's because it's a little leaner mix than like Mape. Is it Mape or is it Mapai?
I remember Sienna. I haven't used my pine deck mud. I haven't used that one yet. They make that mud?
Yeah, they call it 4-to-1. They just call it 4-to-1. See, now I can just shave little bits off at a time. I'm just gonna work my way around. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is take my steel trowel, my flat trowel, finishing trowel, whatever you want to call it, and compress down the last grains of sand to give me a really smooth finish. This really makes the surface a lot more durable than if I were just to leave it with the wood float finish. It's not going to want to slough off as much. So that's the finish we're looking for. Perfectly smooth, flat. Okay, so we have our mortar bed down. It is good to go, perfectly smooth, level perimeter, all pitched down to our flow effects drain. This can set up and you can put the membrane on the next day. We're actually going to go ahead and put the membrane on with it on fresh mud. But if you want to see that video, make sure that you are subscribed and you have your notifications on so you see all of my videos, because a lot of the times you'll miss them just because of the YouTube algorithm. you know, they only show certain videos. So if you want to make sure to see all my videos, including the one where I show putting the membrane on, the sheet membrane, make sure to subscribe and turn your notifications on. If it's in your iPhone or your Android, turn on YouTube notifications. So, but yeah, we got a really nice mud bed. Again, the nice thing about having a custom mud bed, one thing, I think it's a little more solid than foam. They are getting much better with the foam. I mean, I've been getting some samples from some smaller companies that are really perfecting the foam pan. But when you do a mud bed, you can make sure your slope is exactly where you want it. And I think if you are thinking of doing more than one of these, I would highly recommend that you do learn to do the float on the pan, because there's just going to be some circumstances where it comes in really handy to be able to float. If you're only doing it once, you know, if you're just going to say, hey, I'm doing one shower in my house, that's it, I'll never do it again, then maybe foam pan is a good option for you. So, but I like to show this so that you guys can learn how to do it. But that's it. I'm really stoked. I can't wait to do the install on this and show how we put the FlowFX drain grate and cover back on. So yeah, we'll show you those videos later, but thanks for being with us. And I love you. I love being your tile coach. We'll see you on the next video.